The White Lady of Black Hollow Road. There's a stretch of road in the countryside known as Black Hollow Road, where travelers claim to have seen a woman in a flowing white dress wandering at night. Some say she is a ghost searching for something. Others whisper that if you stop and offer her a ride, you'll never be seen again, but no one dares to speak of her origin. Many years ago, Eleanor Ravenswood lived in a small cottage near Black Hollow Road with her husband, William. They were newlyweds, and Eleanor was known for her beauty and kindness. But William was a jealous man, filled with rage and suspicion. One night, convinced that she had been unfaithful, he dragged her to the road, tied a noose around her neck, and hung her from the ancient oak tree. The townsfolk found her body swaying in the morning breeze, her white nightgown stained with mud and blood. William vanished without a trace. Some say he fled, while others believe Eleanor took him with her into the afterlife. Her spirit never left. Decades later, one stormy night, Daniel Carter, a truck driver, was on a long-haul route when his GPS guided him through Black Hollow Road. As he drove down the deserted path, rain hammered against the windshield, and the wipers screeched with each pass. Then, in the glow of his headlights, he saw her. A woman stood in the middle of the road, drenched from head to toe, wearing a long white dress. Her dark, tangled hair clung to her pale face. She didn't move, just stared at him with hollow, black eyes. Daniel slammed on the brakes, his truck skidding on the wet asphalt. His heart pounded. She slowly raised her hand and pointed at him. Daniel swallowed hard, reaching for his phone. When he looked back up, she was gone. The truck's engine sputtered. The lights flickered. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw something move in the passenger seat. A whisper brushed against his ear.
Why didn't you stop?
His breath hitched. He turned his head slowly, and there she was, sitting beside him, her face inches from his. Her lips curled into a smile too wide for a human mouth. Her eyes were bottomless pits of darkness. Daniel screamed as the truck veered off the road, but this time, there was no crash. No overturned truck. No body. The only thing the police found was Daniel's rig, parked perfectly on the roadside with the driver's door still open. His footprints trailed toward the woods, but never came back. Some say the White Lady finally found what she was looking for. Others believe Daniel still walks the road with her now, his face pale, his eyes black, waiting for the next traveler to stop. And if you ever drive down Black Hollow Road, you might hear his voice whisper in your ear, "Why didn't you stop?" The story of Daniel Carter became yet another whispered tale, another warning for those who dared to drive through Black Hollow Road at night. But as with all ghost stories, there were those who didn't believe. One such skeptic was Rachel Dunn, a journalist for a local paranormal blog. She had covered stories of haunted houses, shadow figures, and cursed objects, but to her, they were just that, stories. When she heard about Daniel's disappearance, she was convinced it was nothing more than a truck jacking gone wrong or a staged event for attention, determined to expose the hoax. Rachel packed her car with a camera, a digital recorder, and a flashlight before setting out for Black Hollow Road just before midnight. The road was as desolate as the stories described, lined with ancient trees that cast twisted shadows under the moonlight. The air felt heavy, and an unnatural silence swallowed the usual night sounds. No crickets. No owls. Just the distant rumble of thunder. She drove slowly, camera rolling, narrating her thoughts. "Urban legends thrive on fear," she said. "People disappear every day. It's easy to blame a ghost when you don't have real answers." Then, her headlights flickered, the car radio crackled, cutting to static. A figure appeared in the distance. Rachel's hands tightened on the steering wheel as the woman stepped into the road. Her white dress clung to her body, soaked through as if she had just emerged from a river. Her face was obscured by wet, matted hair. Rachel slammed on the brakes. She took a deep breath, heart pounding. and reached for her camera. This was it, the proof she needed. She slowly raised it, zooming in. The woman lifted her head. Her face was wrong, her skin was too pale, stretched tight over sharp cheekbones. Her lips curled into a grotesque grin, splitting at the edges as though her mouth was never meant to smile. Rachel's camera malfunctioned. The screen went black. Then, a voice crackled over her radio. "Why didn't you stop?" Rachel gasped. The woman was no longer in front of the car. A chill crawled up her spine. She turned her head, slowly, dread thick in her throat. The passenger seat was empty. Then, bang, something pounded on her window. Rachel screamed and hit the gas. Her tires screeched as she sped down the road, not daring to look in the rearview mirror. The air inside her car turned ice cold, her breath visible in frantic puffs. The voice came again, this time from the back seat. "Why didn't you stop?" Rachel's blood ran cold. A glance at the rearview mirror made her stomach drop. The white lady sat in the back seat, her black eyes locked onto Rachel's in the reflection. Her head tilted unnaturally as she grinned wider. Rachel didn't remember much after that. She was found the next morning, her car parked neatly at the roadside, just like Daniel's truck had been, but Rachel was nowhere to be found. Her camera was still on the passenger seat, but the footage was corrupted. The only thing that remained was an audio recording, looping over and over again. "Why didn't you stop?" From that night on, Black Hollow Road claimed another name on its list of missing souls. Some say Rachel still walks the road now, her voice joining the whispers in the wind. And if you ever find yourself driving down Black Hollow Road and your radio crackles, don't look in the mirror, because you might see her sitting in the back seat, waiting.